entertainment capital of the world, it's the Joe Cortez Show.
Hello and welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and boxing capital of the world. Here today again, we have a dear friend. Hardly ever do we get a repeat guest back to back, but we have with us here Craig Dinkle, who's the CEO and founder of
It's a tough one. It's Biotropic Labs.
Biotropic Labs. And Craig, we have my co-host, Delyn May, and I know that you folks out there just been asking so much about the supplements that Craig brings to the table. I mean, he has supplements that make you want to feel like the Superman out there. You want to feel like somebody special.
Or a Superwoman.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, oh yes.
Yeah. Do you take some of that? Because you're always doing, you don't stop.
I don't stop.
You're always so athletic and always going. But and myself as well, from my young age of, I lost track how old I was.
46? 46?
Yeah, you can add another 30
Yeah,
to that.
he's 46.
You can add another 30 to that. And that's how old I am. And I feel great. And it's because of I take care of myself. We were talking today about drinking Coca-Cola. And I said, we're talking about drinking. I said, I forgot the last time I had a drink. It's been quite a while. But that's where I am about taking care of myself physically and mentally. And one of the things that I'm lacking is not enough exercise. Exercise is so important. But Craig, you can tell us a little bit about your products and what, which athletes that you have on board with you, what flagship products you have, so we can tell our audience. Let's pick up a little bit where we left off last week.
Sure. Yeah, I got into this because a little bit of a repeat, but there was a time in my life I was competing at a high level for trying to get on a couple of Olympic teams.
Right.
Qualified for Olympic trials a couple times.
As a fighter?
Yeah. I was fighting all right.
He was fighting in the pool.
Just not in the ring. Just in the pool, what they call, Swimming is such a boring sport. It's all in your head because you're just going back and forth. They call it black line fever because it's just following a black line for thousands of yards every day, literally thousands of yards every day. But, when you're competing, whether it's boxing or swimming or whatever you're doing, you are always seeking a competitive edge. And, of course, you've got to do something that's legal. You can't do things that you're not supposed to do things that are illegal. People do. But I was always looking for a way to get a boost because I was up against some serious heavyweights that had a big edge over me. And so, I was very, very busy stacking and working with raw ingredients after using off-the-shelf stuff that never worked. Moved into raw ingredients and stacking and trying to find the right dosages of things that might work for me. And as I say, fell ass backwards into stuff that worked. All you could do is experiment. We didn't have the benefit of the internet at the time, so we just had to play with things we intuitively knew about or scientifically knew about, a little bit of both. And through that exercise, one particular series or stack of product worked on my chemistry. And I always say that what worked on me may not work on you, but I always think it will. If it works on me, it certainly has a chance to work on you as well. So one of those ingredients really made a huge difference in my life, in my training. It really, really lifted my training and really helped me get much better competitive outcomes. And that particular ingredient is something I brought forward just about 4 years ago. I hadn't even thought about it since my swimming days had ended. But there were a series of events that happened, a series of dominoes that fell that made me feel like, I really know the sports space. I really understand what athletes go through. The pain, the work, the trial, the tribulations, the effort, the lack of sleep, the need for recovery, all the stuff that they go through, the immense amount of work that athletes go through. And I thought, I really want to bring from the past what worked for me, bring it forward and try to help athletes today get the same competitive edge that I was seeking naturally. And so that first ingredient was an AFA product, a Flosquat product that has cordyceps sinensis in it. It has beetroot in it for vasodilation. The AFA product, by the way, is really well known for recovery properties. You can look that up. It's well documented. It's also well documented for helping with having a nootropic effect on you. So if some athletes, they can be great in the pool or great in workout, but they crumble under pressure. They don't perform well under pressure.
Yeah, but but not only that, but you need a good trainer.
Oh man,
A good trainer, and you also have confidence in yourself.
The-
You got to have a little dog in you in order to say, you know what, I can do this. But you got to have a good team behind you. It's not just you, the swimmer by yourself. You have to have the right trainer to watch to see what every step, every stroke you make, to make sure you're making it the right way, and to be more consistent on a regular basis.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that any better. If you don't, and I'm making some assumptions here, and it's good you're bringing that up. If you don't have a team, you have a good coach.
Right.
In swimming, for example, you might have a head coach, an assistant coach, and a stroke coach, and a trainer.
Right.
And then at the highest levels, there may be one more trainer in that group. So yeah, you have to have, let's say, a village around you.
Exactly.
And assuming you have all of that, you have the right coaches, and that's still not enough, because the key thing you just said right now, this moves away from supplementation a bit, because I always say with the right team, the right coach, the right trainers, and assuming that you're doing the work like all of your competitors are, then we're all sort of at the same level, right? And supplementation may, if you're lucky, you find something that works on your chemistry, give you a little bit of a competitive edge, you get a lift from it, and that's what the AFA product is really known for, is recovery and giving a natural lift and a little bit of more concentration and focus. But if you don't have your head right, I don't care what you're doing. That's almost the most important thing, I think. That's my philosophy.
Yeah,
is
In
that-
any walk of life, for sure.
And, yes,
I want to
yeah.
ask you a question. So you're kind of focusing on individual sports, but what about like a whole team? Do you have any teams per se that are on your product?
Well, I'm not sure that, I should have checked with some people before I came in today to
And
find out.
maybe I shouldn't have asked that
No, it's a
trick
good question to ask. I do have professional athletes on it. I have a group of Olympic trial athletes that are heading to 2020, trying to make the team, 3 right now.
Right.
Maybe 4 at this point. That one's a cyclist, one's a swimmer, and 2 marathoners right now. So there are 4 right now that are.
Will they be using your bio?
They are using it. They're using it right now.
Biotropics.
Yeah, they're using it right now.
Good.
I have the A national youth hockey team.
Oh, okay. So
Very
we
high
have
level.
a team that we, yes.
But the thing, it's a great question about the team, because even whether you're a boxer, which is individual, a runner, which is highly individual, or a swimmer, which is highly individual, or a basketball or a hockey team, even though you're operating as a team, you're an individual.
still your individual,
So it's the same problem.
absolutely,
You
yes.
you got to have the
Same problem.
confidence in yourself. You got to be prepared, but you got to have, like I said, a good coach, like with a needle behind your butt, and then making sure you keep going faster.
really believe
and
that.
Get away,
I really believe that. There's a very interesting subject you're bringing up, because one of my colleagues, I can say his name. His name is Terry Schroeder. He's the Division I coach at Pepperdine University for water polo.
Oh, okay.
Very, very, very tough sport. He's a 4-time Olympian. I was talking to him about what you're talking about right now, about how do you coach today. It's a
Right.
new generation, new thinking.
New techniques, new equipment, everything that's out there is new.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Now, I'm not going to quote Terry, because he probably wouldn't want me to do that, but I'll tell you, the discussion really revolved around, when we were competing, it was very serious, it was very hard. You had a coach, just like you're saying, pushing you, especially if they knew you had it.
Right.
That's the way the world works.
Right.
If you're in that club that has it, or has made it, or next to the made it crowd,
Right.
that has it crowd, you're going to get pushed. You're going to get pushed. You're going to get poked in the ribs, and they're going to ask a lot of you, because they really it's good for you to get to the next level. It's good for the coach too. It's a synergistic sort of thing. So, you've got to have a coach that's pushing you.
Because if you're not doing the right job, bring the next coach. Somebody a little bit better.
That's what I love about sports. It's a merit-based system. There's no discrimination here. There's no profiling. There's none of that stuff. It's just you either make it or you don't. You either have the stuff or you don't. And that's why, coming back to the head thing, at the end of the day, with the right team, the right supplementation, the right coach, everything being right, if it isn't up here, you're not going to make it.
And not only in sports, in life as well.
Right, yes.
You got to have a little something up here. If you don't have it up here, something is wrong. You don't have a full deck, you're not going to make it.
Well, it's also just attitude in general for everyday life.
Yeah, exactly.
Having a good attitude.
It's good, but we're talking about the team, Craig. Now, you have a bunch of athletes already on your program, and you have a lot of individuals there. But, I always say, talking about teamwork, here we are talking about this product. We're hoping that somebody's out there watching and say, I want to be part of the team with Craig Dinkle. We want to do something. We think we can do things together. That's what we're looking. We're looking for a better team than what we have right now. We want to raise the bar every day to make sure you say, you know what, let me call him to get Greg Dinkle. Where can we get a hold of you, Greg?
Oh, yeah. Well, anyone can reach out to me at my email address. It's Craig, C-R-A-I-G-T-D, T as in Thomas, D as in Delta, CraigTD@biotropiclabs.com. Check in with me and ask questions or anything. But Joe's bringing up a good point. I definitely want to get, I have a great distribution channel right now, the usual marketing channels, but we definitely would love to collaborate with people that get this and understand that getting it out to a wider group of people where we can help more people try to get that competitive edge or that healthy edge that they're seeking.
Right.
That'd be a great thing. We'd love to do that.
Yeah, no, that's needed in all walks of life, but especially this year, we're going to try to enhance the abilities of these athletes to make it to raise the bar, go to another level, especially now with the Olympics 2020 coming up. We want to make sure we get the right team of people. The timing is right. The timing is right to get somebody on board with us and say, you know what, Ms. Dinkle, we have a location, we have a bunch of outlets that we can work with you to help move your products out there. We want the whole world to know about this wonderful product. That's why I got you on the show again 2 weeks in a row, because I know that people need this. And everybody's saying, you know what, we got to know more about this. And the more you hear about what we're talking about on a regular basis, the more you're going to believe in the products that Greg Dinkle brings to the table.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I did this because I believe that. This was the first time in my life that I went into a business with the primary motivating factor being, shoot, I have a product that I believe sincerely is better than anything out there. They're custom formulated. They're not off-the-shelf things with my brand on it. They're custom formulated. I always say that I used myself as a clinical study, the clinical trial, to try to find the dosages and the right stacks of things that would work. And 5 great flagship products. We mentioned the AFA. We have a chlorella stack that also has vasodilation properties in it.
I think we have pictures of each of the products as well, and maybe we could have the picture while you're discussing each one of them, those flagship products.
Yeah, each of these products, by the way, there's AFA. Each of these products has the same theme. I want to be clear, the same theme. And so the theme among all of these, except for the last 2, 3 of them have the same theme, and that is vasodilation, getting more good stuff, more electrolytes, more red blood cells, to where you need it most when you're working out, which is obviously your muscles, right? And when you're competing. So that's the basic theme, but each of them has a different prime mover. So in the AFA product, it's the Flasqua blue-green algae. It's the creme de la creme of that group, better than spirulina, in my opinion, and better than chlorella, in my opinion, for what it does, which, as I said earlier, has a nootropic effect, so it helps with higher levels of concentration and is well known to help stimulate muscle repair for recovery. So if those are issues for you, it's a great product to take. And following that, then it's the chlorella. I had a lot of people out there say, well, I love the, that's Altafuel, but we'll see chlorella here in a minute. But a lot of people said, I love the AFA product, but it uses desiccated liver. And that's critical because it's got a high iron content, B9, with the B suite of vitamins. And the B suite of vitamins are really, really important for red blood cell production. So you want to have that. The chlorella speaks to people who said, well, I love that, but I'd rather have something that's more of a vegetarian or vegan line. And so the chlorella still has the same vasodilation effect without the meat in it, without the desiccated liver. And chlorella is very, very well known for, and I love chlorella here because it's very well known for its ability to bind with heavy metals and toxins and pollutants in the blood and eliminate them. So if you have cleaner stuff going to your muscles when you're training and working out, I always say you're going to have a better performance, and I believe that. And then the next one, again, still with the blood oxygenation theme, is Oxia. And Oxia is a much simpler, now, by the way, just going back, you can leave Oxy up there, but going back to the other 2 formulas, athletes are always on the edge of sickness and health. And this is really true of swimmers, and we're in outside, training all the time, and just always, and I'm sure boxers are the same. They're training at such a high level, and rest is always an issue. They're always on the edge of somewhere between really superior health and falling off with a cold or flu or something. And each of the 2 previous products also have immune properties in it that help harden the immune system to push back at illness. So
okay, so in other words, you're talking about your training, you're getting ready to compete 2 weeks before the day to compete. You come down with a cold or something, a flu or something. This will help.
I'm saying that if you take these, that the probabilities of reducing that problem you just described are high. so that 2 days before the fight, you're not going to come down with a cold.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to have it. So
Right.
so while you're taking it, it's helping to improve your immune system. So the Oxia product that we had up there, that's just a super clean energy vasodilator. That's all that's designed to do. It doesn't have any of the additional ingredients in there. It's just a straight shot of vasodilation using L-citrulline and malic acid as a transport. So that combination of ingredients has been well documented to deliver a bigger vasodilation effect than anything else like it. And it's also infused, as you see there, with cordyceps, so that there's a higher oxygen delivery mechanism along with the vasodilation. So you get a good vasodilation and higher oxygen delivery. A lot of bodybuilders like to use this. It's good for boxers too. But really it's good for anybody who's just trying to get a bigger pump and a sustained pump. All of these have great sustain factors in them, so they last for a while. And then the last two products here, there are two versions of AltaFuel. I developed AltaFuel again. This is a relatively new product, but I'm not swimming anymore. I'm not in the pool doing 5,000 yards a day. Sometimes I do a little bit of that, but mostly I like to get up into the mountains now. That's sort of my exercise of choice.
You mentioned that last time.
Yeah. Still have to train hard, man. It's still not, it's just a less unkind training sport than, let's say, swimming or boxing is. And so I've got to throw 40, 50 pounds on my back where I live and, climb around hills and mountains and strengthen my legs and stuff. But I'm going up to altitude. So I was as high as 12,500 feet this summer up in the high Sierras.
Maybe I should start doing that.
Yeah, man, why don't you come with me,
Put
man?
a knapsack on my back, 40 pounds a piece of cake.
Look.
Put on 70 pounds on my back.
I'll tell you
And
what,
go up there.
I tell you, nothing's easy. And I always say, you just got to find a hard that you don't mind doing. Yeah, because it's all hard, whether it's boxing or swimming or climbing in the Sierras. It's
Legs, you got to have legs.
Legs.
Sometimes you squat down, may say, damn, trying to get back up.
No,
you know,
it's
you gotta
sometimes easier to stay down on the ground.
That's why. Well, let me tell you one thing. When I used to when I used to referee George Foreman, he used to go back to that corner and he wouldn't sit down. And I said, how come the guy never sits down? One day I asked, hey, George, not for nothing, but I've done several of your fights. And how come you don't sit down in that corner? He had a higher stool for him because he was so tall. Yeah. But he said, Joe, if I sit down, I probably couldn't get back up again. So I'd rather just stay.
He was honest about
it.
And that was before the first round.
Yeah.
And
I tell you, but when you go to the later rounds, man, your legs start giving, especially when those guys start pulling on your shoulder out there, and your legs start to go on you, And you say, I can't move around that ring. So that's why these products that you have, like you say, it rebuilds
helps
the energy.
Helps sustain that pace.
Yeah.
Because boxers, I mean, I can't imagine what boxers must go through, because you just made me think of something I never thought of before. First of all, you got to go in fit. We know that. There's no question about really, really, really fit, world-class fit, right?
Yeah.
But your legs are getting tired. Then, as you say, the guy's leaning on you, so that's more pressure on your legs. But now I'm imagining your core has to be strong to get back up. Yeah, everything. That's why I say you got to choose the hard you want to do. Because it's all hard.
But you got to have a little dog in you, too, on top of that. I don't care what you do with it. You can have the best trainer, you can have the best skills, but you got to have some dog in you. If you don't have that dog in you, you're not going to make it, man. You got to say, no, you hit me hard, I'm going to hit you harder twice.
Yeah, and you can't, whether it's in the ring, again, I always come back to the pool. That's where I made my living, right? But whether it's in the ring or in the pool or wherever it is, triathlon, you say, if I get hit, well, I got to come back harder.
That's
you
right.
can't even show that you were hurt, man.
Right.
Because if the other side even senses that you're hurt,
you get hurt, you get
that hard hit they just put on
and
you.
You say, and you're feeling it, but you got to, you didn't do nothing to me.
Even if you did. And even if that guy knows you did, you still have to say,
come on. He's laughing like, come on.
Believe it or not,
don't.
and as hard as this might be to believe, it's the same thing in the pool. Sure. Swimmers know. They know your pace. They certainly know their own pace. And we're looking. We're looking when we come off a turn. We're looking across the pool on a breath. We know where you're supposed to be.
Right.
And so it's sort of equivalent to a punch. So if you're not at the right place at the right time, I'm saying, okay, I got him, man. He should be a half a stroke ahead of me. He's a half behind. And that really does, it's the same as
You might say that, but you also can't let that be like, I got him and lower your guards.
No, but that's exactly what Joe's saying here. Is that's the moment where you got to buckle down and go.
Exactly.
I got to go. I got to throw that punch. And
When I take it to strokes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm concentrating where I'm going. You said that black line. You got, but how the heck can you see all these guys on your side? When you turn this way, I guess you turn it.
Yes.
You can see them. That's how that works.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, they're looking.
I'd rather be looking for the punches, you know?
Yeah.
I can see the punches coming, but you
Yeah.
take a stroke, you got to look that way.
Yeah, well, in boxing,
So you look the other way.
in boxing, you better be looking straight ahead. And
Yeah,
you look
yeah.
away, swimming's a little
Man.
different because you
The
can't.
coach is yelling, hit him with the right, hit him with the left. And you look on to listen to him, boom.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
your eyes focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't turn to the coach and say, "Get off my back! I'm doing a fight here," because you take a hit. Right?
Even when I was a referee, I told the fighter, hey, come on, keep the punches up. I watch your headbutt. He look at me. Don't look at me, man. Look at your opponent. You're going to get clocked. Keep your guards up at all times, man.
Now, but here's the funny thing. So the equivalent of that is, you lose your focus for a second in the ring, you take a hit, right?
Yeah.
You look too many times, or if you look the wrong way in swimming, it's the equivalent to taking a punch because you're going to lose 1/10 of a second.
Wow.
Right.
So you can't just, you can't be relaxed about even in the water looking. There's a way to look and there's a time to look, and you have to know when the right time to do. You can't do it every stroke. You do it every stroke, you're losing at maybe 0.3 of a second, 1/10 of a second, 5/100ths of a second. They all add up over. I was a sprinter, so over 100 meters.
Yeah.
That's the race rate there.
Right.
Because they're winning these days only by hundreds of seconds. Now.
Oh, it's-
They're down to. There was a time you could win by thousandths, but they got rid of that, and now you can win by thousandths of a second anymore. So coming back to that, just to wrap up with the Altifuel thing here, that was a product because I moved to the mountains. So it's not literally, but moved my workouts to mountain sort of things. I started thinking, well, you got to push back at acute mountain sickness. You got to push back at hypoxia. There's less oxygen up there.
Yeah.
Something I learned that was really fascinating. It's not so much that there's less oxygen going up there. There's the same amount as there is down at sea level. It's just all spread out more.
Right.
The molecules are spread out more because there's less pressure. But so that means you're not getting as much. And so I wanted to come up with something that would help people combat acute mountain sickness and the hypoxia effect. And that's
So when you're up in the mountain, you don't get as much?
I don't have any problem at all. And in fact,
So if I'm on a honeymoon, I don't want to go to a mountain. 'Cause I won't be getting as much, huh?
no. But I had a.
Okay, I'm not saying nothing X-rated. I'm just saying the good things, man.
It's all good stuff. It's all good. But I had a guy go up this year to Mount Everest this year. I don't know if we mentioned this on the last talk. Yeah, so Mount Everest this year was the deadliest year ever.
Yes, it was.
11 people died this year. It's
Really?
horrible. Yeah, and if you know Everest, there's a very famous spot toward the end there before you summit called the Hillary Step. It's named after Sir Edmund Hillary, who summited the mountain. And I think is famous for the, why you're climbing, well, why are you doing this? Well, the phrase was because it's there. I think he was the guy who coined that phrase. But very dangerous year, and I had a friend or colleague going up this year who took Altifuel with him on Everest. So this is the first time it had ever gone. I mean, I only went to 12,500 feet. He was 20. He didn't get to the top this year because it was a bad year, and I don't know that it would have been a conducive year under the circumstances. But he came back with great reports from using it at altitude, so we're very excited about how well it worked on Everest this year.
That's wonderful.
And
you have one more version of that particular?
So the difference between version A and version B is they're both meat-oriented products, so right out of the gates you need to know this is not a vegan product because at altitude you're struggling anyway. All right, so I feel, it's my own belief, that you have to have every possible edge, speaking of edges, that you can possibly get. And that comes in two forms for me. The prime movers in one ingredient is desiccated liver, because, again, has the highest iron content that you can get from a meat source. Okay. You want as much iron, as much red cell production as you can get at altitude. And by the way, going to altitude naturally produces red blood cells anyway. Everybody should know that. You're going to have some of that effect if you're there long enough. And then the second version of it is the most powerful, and it's an unusual blend. Probably you've never seen anything like this before, and that's why I say these are proprietary and custom formulated. This uses marine clams as the meat source because nothing has a higher iron content than marine clams. So these are desiccated marine clams, and very powerful to get an extra push at altitude. They can be used at sea level. That's something that people should be experimenting with and stacking, maybe using a combination of these. For example, some people like to use Oxia, the pure vasodilator, with the AFA or with the chlorella. There's no reason you couldn't use any of the altitude supplements. Right. But those are, you asked me about some of the athletes I have. So some of them are altitude athletes. I'm just a climber at this point. But I have say, ultra runners. Leadville 100, I think is what it's called. If I have the numbers wrong, you experts don't criticize me here. I'm not a runner, okay? But I'm pretty sure it's called the Leadville 100. It's up at 10,000 feet. A lot of these types of events are going on at altitude. So it's designed for those types of athletes.
So is that where they do their training, or that's where they're competing?
They're competing up there.
Wow.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's a lot of talk about how to train at altitude. You know, train high, rest low.
Right.
You know, train low, rest high. You know, you can go round and round and round, and my 2 cents on that is it's better to train high and then rest low. And you should look that up for yourselves. You don't have to listen to me. You should find out what works for you. But train high, rest low seems to be the best way to do it, because training high, you know, it's harder to train at that altitude. But if you come down and rest and get oxygen, you recover faster, and it enables you to go back when you're training high to perform a little better.
So I recommend those individuals that are considering getting married one night, going on a honeymoon, go up to the mountain, stay up there for about a month, then come down, and you're going to be more active when you come down.
So Joe's making a little press here that some of these products are well known for because they vasodilate, and that's what some of these ED products out there on the market do. They do have that. They do have that effect. But as I said before, I won't take any blame of anybody who takes it for that reason.
Well, if anybody
But it is a natural way.
It is
yeah,
natural.
it is not, but it's a good thing if you bring somebody a wedding gift, bring them a box of just biotropic products, you know, because I mean, it's hey, come on, you're gonna be helping your loved ones and make your friends more like a Superman and Wonder Woman out there.
Yeah. Well, that's true. You
So
can
it's
look
for both, not male and female, right?
Yeah, you can do it absolutely. Yeah, vasodilation is vasodilation, but you can look this up yourself too. Beetroot has a long history going all the way back to Roman times as a vasodilation product, and they used it for ED too.
So that was before the blue pill.
It was all before. They were red pills at that time,
Yeah,
right?
see that?
They were red at that time because beet is red.
Because the beet.
Yes, beets are red. Yeah. And by the way, just so you know, if you do go down the beetroot road and you pee red, that's natural. That does happen when you take beetroot.
Safe that you shared that with people.
Yeah,
because you don't want to scare people.
one day I was
Sure.
doing a lot of that beet juice. And when I went to the bathroom, I said, "Oh, what the heck?"
Yeah. You don't have a medical problem. That's natural.
I said, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah.
But
That's
that makes you change the inside, your liquids inside. I mean, when you go to the do number one, you say, "What the heck is this?"
The first time
And sometimes when you do number two, you say, "What the hell is really this?"
Yeah,
I gotta go see my doctor, and it's all the beats that you're taking, right?
That's absolutely right.
Okay. Just saying.
Yeah, it's good to know. It made me nervous the first time I did the juicing part of it. The reason I don't do a lot of people do juicing, and that's legitimate. The only reason I don't do the juicing side of it and prefer finding the right ratios in powder is that juicing's too much on me. It is too much liquid to get what I need, and I can't maintain that. But you can maintain taking tablets.
And you lose a lot when you juice because you can't. You like lose the skin and. Sometimes of the different fruits and things like that.
That's true, but of course athletes in that moment only care about getting that pump. So
well, yes, of course.
But you brought up a good point. You can't do much if you can't pee that out. I'm just being really candid here because we're talking about what athletes have to go through.
That's
If you can't get rid of this before you cycle or run or whatever it is you do, you're carrying extra weight.
Right.
That's never going to be a good thing.
That's never good for anybody.
And as I said before, your digestive system is working. And anytime your digestive system is overworking when you're an athlete and you're trying to get something done, whether it's workout or competition, you've diluted your ability to compete as well.
Right.
So,
Well,
so that's why I like the tablets.
Well, like I say, Greg, it's an honor having you again on the show today. It's a lot of fun. Plus, on top of that, it's so informative of you individuals out there. You don't have to be an athlete to be taking these wonderful supplements to get you going. Just to get you in good health, keep you healthy. And if you're feeling a little down and out, some of these products will do you some good, but especially if you're competing, though.
No, that's true. That's very true. In fact, I've had some very high-level, Olympian-level trainers recommended everyone should take it because the ingredients are so good.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the show,
My pleasure.
Greg.
My
Dylan
pleasure.
May, myself here, Joe Cortez on the Fayetteville Firm Show on Mondays and Tuesdays, and today's the Joe Cortez Show. Don't miss it. See you again next week. Take care. God bless. And Merry Christmas. Ho,
Merry
ho,
Christmas.
ho.